Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Reef Founders Table, talking all about supercharging your Web3 communities. I am the operations lead here at Reef. My name is Derek Silva, and the other host I have with me here today is Janesh, who's the lead developer relations, the head of developer relations at Reef. Janesh, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone. So what all activities you are seeing right now in the developer areas, I am heading that. Happy to contribute more and more on that side.
Yeah, so the Reef Decentralized Club, the Reef Season of Docs, Janesh is spearheading all that, leading that, organizing it, and he's been a great addition to the team as of 3-4 months ago, thereabouts, and is really accelerating things on that front. So we're going to be doing this all in English. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. We're going to try and keep things really concise. We have a lot of content we want to get through, and hopefully we'll get through the majority of it. And the panelists here that we have will all interact with each other and come up with some really great insights for everyone. So with that being said, let's get into the introductions here. Pat from Alterverse, why don't you go ahead first, please?
Yeah, it's great to be here. My name is Pat. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Alterverse. Just a little bit about my background. I've got about 18 and a half years of experience in the gaming industry. I've been with the Alterverse team about a year and a half now, since early 2022. Before that, I spent 17 years at Activision Blizzard, so I've got quite a bit of experience in the gaming industry. Spent a lot of time managing big brands back in the day, including Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Overwatch, to name a few. But super excited to be part of Web3 industry these days. When I started in gaming back in 2004 with Activision, that was really kind of the start of gaming back in the day. It's when World of Warcraft just launched, actually. And just really see a lot of the different comparisons that I see now with Web3 and gaming, and how things are really at its infancy, and the expectations are super high. So really glad to be a part of it. But a little bit about Alterverse. Alterverse is the world's first high fidelity world and game creation platform that will enable creators to build infinite Web3 games and engaging experiences using visual assets and gameplay mechanics built on the Unreal Engine. So we got 3 games launching under the Alterverse umbrella. These will be launching in the next few months. The first is going to be Sky City, which is a MMO social sandbox game. The central hub with over 20 plus games and experiences. We have over 100 partners to date, with many occupying storefronts in this social hub, selling their goods and services. Players can shop, build, hunt, craft, buy land, and monetize their assets. We actually did some closed beta testing in June, July. We listened to the community, went back, or doing some additional elements within our new build that's coming up, and we're going to be doing a closed beta here pretty soon as well. So outside of Sky City, we also have another game called Outpost, which is an esports shooter. This is going to be set aboard giant space stations. It's going to feature quest, mining, crafting, space flight combat. And also we have Wrecked, which is a hardcore survival MMORPG. So where players can forage, craft, build, battle the elements to survive. So Outpost and Wrecked will be accessible from Sky City. So it's really going to be really nice variation, different gameplay to really keep players engaged. Outside of that, in 2024, we'll launch our no-code game design tools that's going to enable creators to build infinite variation of these games using our platform called meta servers. So it's really what kind of sets us apart, are these meta servers, which creators can own. They actually can buy it as an NFT, create their own games or worlds using the expansive sandbox features, and monetize these creations. And then they could sell this NFT as well down the road. And then 25, we'll launch additional world templates and assets to expand the creations from MMOs to battle royales to everything in between that you can think of. We are backed by the titans of Web3. We're incubated by Binance Labs and Altcoin Buzz. Also invested by Binance Labs, Polygon, Gate, IOBC Capital, Digitata, plus many, many more. But the entire Alterverse team here is honored to be part of the Reef Accelerator program. Look forward to all the great things we can collaborate on with the Reef team and bring exciting gaming experiences like Alterverse to the Reefians out there. So super excited about that.
Sorry, a little background logistics here. I'm just trying to take care of. Thanks a lot, Pat. It's great to. I know I expressed this when we first met, but like the pedigree that you and the team have at Alterverse, I think should instantly lend some confidence. Obviously, things happen. Delays and all sorts of other things can happen and derail things. But I've seen the progress you guys have been making over the last few months. I think it's phenomenal, and really looking forward to seeing Alterverse integrate with Reef Chain in the very near future here.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. Over to Sparsh from Plena. You tell me. Plena Finance.
Yeah, it's Plena Finance. So guys, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Plena Finance. So I have been in the blockchain industry for more than half a decade. I invested in Bitcoin when I was in college. My friend told me about Bitcoin and I tripled my money, and I was actually doing tech at that time. So I was curious about the whole technology part, and I came across Ethereum white paper. I started working as a blockchain developer when I was in college. And then when I graduated, I started working full time in this field. And then later on, I went on to become blockchain architect and consultant for a couple of projects which touched a market cap of $500 million to $1 billion as well. And only after working on those projects, I got the idea to work on Plena Finance, because what I saw was that a lot of people were investing in those tokens, those crypto coins, but no one was using the dApps, right? And that's how we came up with Plena. Plena is the first application to use account abstraction technology. We have been using this technology for almost 2 years. I would say more than 2 years. And Vitalik wrote a paper on it, I would say just a year ago, in September 2022 only. And still now, it's still the most, I would say, advanced and easy to use mobile application out there. So using account abstraction, we are able to provide our users a centralized application-like user experience. So our users don't have to learn anything about the blockchain technology. They don't have to worry about gas price or I would say anything related to blockchain. They can perform any action on blockchain, even the most complex ones, like providing liquidity, which takes up to 8 to 10 transactions in one single tap.
Terrific. Great. Glad to hear about all that. And definitely, I share your concern with people buying tokens, really having no idea how to use the dApp or even what the project does. Like ape now, research later. I hate that whole ethos personally. And, I've gotten a few, I've been the lucky beneficiary of a few token airdrops in the past, ENS, for example, Getcoin. And that's because I actually used the dApps. I bought 2 ENS domains early on, like in 2018. No idea that, there would be a token later on. Getcoin, I'd funded, I had used my own personal wallet because another team I was working with at the time was like, we'll just send you the money and you fund these. We don't want to do a shared wallet type situation. And Gnosis Safe was not as good at the time. So I wasn't working with them at the time anymore. And they were kind of ghosting me once the GTC airdrop happened. And I got a GTC airdrop. So, but that's because you actually have to go use these dApps in order to benefit from that sort of thing and to understand how they work. So anyway, great. Glad to hear that. Sakhib from Astra, over to you, please.
Hey, Derek. Firstly, thank you for having us here. Really appreciate that. And obviously representing Astra Protocol. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and Chief Innovation Officer. My background is actually in traditional finance, so I built a number of regulatory compliant platforms and worked with regulators across European and UK markets for some of the largest banks in the space, both commercial and retail banks. So very much familiar when it comes to the regulatory compliance space. Got into the crypto world around 2012, so I've been in for some time now. For us at Astra Protocol, we saw the emerging trends in the market. Our founders actually come from the patent space, so they started developing and have some global patents around the validation of smart contracts. And we look together at the evolution of this market and the role that it'll play in capital markets and in finance. And really, I think what everybody is seeing today and the actualization across the world is that for crypto to become more mainstream, to have more success, the blockchain elements almost become a footnote, and consumer protection and regulation become more forefront actions in the eyes of most serious players. So Astra protocol is Web3 enabled compliance toolkit. And for those of you who are a little bit overwhelmed by all the compliance terms that I'm throwing out there, we're a plug and play that allows dApps and blockchains to become regulatory compliant. We effectively allow users during the onboarding journey to get their credentials validated when they're setting up their wallet. So at a wallet level, we can ensure that individuals who are entering into these ecosystems, aren't infringing on some of these regulatory compliance issues that we're seeing today. Things like anti-money laundering, things like know your customer, know your business. We handle it in a very unique way. So we're not publishing or allowing anyone privileged access to your sensitive information. That remains with you as the end user. So that's all wrapped in privacy. But what we are doing is posting on-chain metadata that proves that you as a dApp, that you as a blockchain ecosystem, are doing the very best to keep illicit finance out of your economies and out of your ecosystems, and compliant with all these regulatory compliance policies that exist all around the world. What that then leads to is more accessibility for mainstream Web2 financial providers to start entering into your markets. And that's exactly what we're focused on. So a few interesting things about Astra. We have one of the most prominent boards in the world. We have former chair of the EU commissioners, Phil Hogan. We have the former chief of staff to the United States White House, Mick Mulvaney, former head of Homeland Security and Cybersecurity for the US federal government, Kirsten Nielsen, sitting on our board. We have the leading authority in patents around the world, the Right Honourable Professor Sir Robin Jacob, sitting on our board as well as a number of experienced people in our core operational and technologies team who have been delivering massive platforms over a number of years. So we've really assembled the best people in the space to ensure that we're not only well informed when it comes to all the legislation that's happening around the world, but also well positioned in experience to actually implement this at a wide scale. So what you see with a toolkit like Astra is that we slowly become some of the key infrastructure that's required for this industry to move forward. And that's something that we have been really, really proud of supporting. So that's a little bit about Astra. So really appreciate being here, and happy to be supporting the Reef team and integrating on Reef as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. KYC, KYB, terms I learned, well, almost 20 years ago now, because I was a financial advisor for a little bit. I'm like, I have how much paperwork I need to do for these clients? Oh my gosh. These poor people just trying to save for the retirements. Like, come on.
Yeah, we automate the whole thing. So typically it takes us around 10 seconds to validate you. So that whole, thorough evaluation is done in a matter of seconds with our technology. So we take the pain away.
Good. That's great to hear. Okay, Nelson, over to you with Rariko, please.
Hi guys, how are you? So basically, we are building a composable social graph at Rariko, and personally, to me and my co-founder, the idea of building a decentralized composable social graph and decentralized social app came and struck by us because I had a great, social media presence on my Twitter account, and out of nowhere it was suspended just because I used to talk about cryptocurrencies and stuff. So that was the main reason why we started building it. Because for me, till 2022, everything I had in Web3 world was because of my social presence, because I was kind of an influencer and KOL in the space. Prior to that, I have been in this space since 2016, and I have worked with a lot of projects for marketing and stuff. And I have also authored an Ethereum improvement proposal around RWA dual asset tokens. Yeah, so that is about me and Rariko. And we're happy to be part of Reef's ecosystem. Reef is, I guess, as an ecosystem is a great opportunity. and with hardly under 50 million market cap, there's a lot to offer for even for the community and for every one of us.
Terrific, good. I just switched mics. Looks like mine's still working, so that's good. I just realized Restream. I haven't used Restream in Safari in a little while, and so I was like, "Oh God, I got to change this just for background noise and stuff." So looks like we're still working. Awesome, thank you, Nelson. Really appreciate you being here. I know you had to. You needed a little extra time to get on, and I'm glad you could get into the stream here, and you could introduce us to Rariko, and we'll get back to you in a little bit. Deon, dot.GAMING, please.
Hi, oh wait, I'm muting myself. Okay, my name is Deon, and I am from dot.GAMING Studio, and I have been in the Web3 business since about 2017. So I'm not a complete expert, but I'm trying, and we have an expert team that I'm working with, so I feel better about that. But what we're doing at dot.GAMING is we are creating a game distribution platform, and this platform will allow other Web3 developers and Web2 developers to launch their games on our platform. So we're going to cater for both Web3 and Web2. And this platform is also going to offer a variety of other features, like a quest feature where you can do certain quests for, let's say a bunch of other people launch their games. So you can do quests on those people's games to earn rewards on dot.GAMING. And then we're also going to host esports tournaments, which is going to be fantastic because it's all decentralized, so all transparent as well. So let's say, Derek, you and we decide we're going to host a esports tournament on dot.GAMING platform. We send the prize money on the platform. It's all transparent and everybody sees what's happening. And once they choose a winner or whoever's going to be the winner, the money will be directly transferred then to them. Everything is going to be transparent, done on the platform itself. And not only that, we are utilizing cloud gaming, which is going to be even better. So that's going to eliminate the need to download and update and all those big updates. And when, like, you had an issue with your internet, you can't do an update specifically. Maybe the update is too big for you. Well, what the cloud gaming service is going to provide, you can just play directly on the cloud through the dot.GAMING service. And then also, we are self-developing game. Our first game that we are developing in-house is Sales Wars, which is a NFT-based game that is set in the golden age of piracy, where you attack other ships and you're being attacked by sea monsters, and you need to go to resource islands to gather resources. It's going to be this entire pirate theme type game with two main types of NFTs on the game. And that the NFTs part also brings me back to the dot.GAMING platform, where we're also going to have an NFT marketplace where you can sell your NFTs and launch them on the marketplace. And overall, we're just super excited about dot.GAMING and what platform can offer. And then also in Q1 and Q2 2024, we are going to hopefully, if everything works out right and there's no hiccups, we will launch live to the public late Q1, early Q2 of 2024. Yeah, and that's dot.GAMING and Sales Wars and me.
Awesome. I just realized I should have left my microphone by itself, because now it's actually causing now the problem I was trying to avoid is actually happening. Anyway, I was a little. The pirate game sounds great, but when you said Sales Wars, I was like, "Ooh, is this going to be like a 1980s New York Stock Exchange simulator where you're like trying to buy and sell penny stocks?" But not the case. But that's okay. So is this, like, at its core, is this like an Epic game store but for Web3 native games?
Yeah, so Epic Games, if you look at the new thing that BlueStacks offer, the Android simulator, or what Steam would offer, but everything like that, but just cloud gaming mostly, and Web3 integrated as well, and then also the esports tournaments, everything happens on the platform itself. Yeah.
Cool.
So glorified Steam.
Yeah, or Xbox Cloud, like they're and Microsoft is definitely heading in a more cloud gaming oriented way, to trying to get away from consoles, which I think for a lot of people who can't afford the $500 or $600 US up front for an Xbox, that's terrific. And especially when AAA titles are like $70 or $80 now. They're approaching $100 Canadian, which I think is ridiculous at this point. Yeah, I'd much rather pay $15 or $20 a month Canadian, and just get access to like a huge library of games. I have a Switch, so I'm gonna stick with that for a little while. But once that's getting a little long in the tooth, I'm definitely gonna have some decisions to make. And it sounds like .gaming might be my fix. Cool. All right. I think this is our last intro. Yaroslav from. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so I'm gonna let you pronounce it.
Petobots. I'm hearing myself again, so should be fine right now. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm Yaroslav. I'm originally from Ukraine, but now I live in Spain. I'm serial entrepreneur since I was 18, and a few years ago I founded a Web3 focused venture studio named Yard Hub. We develop a lot of different projects. We build our own projects. We accelerate other projects that come to us, and one of the currently active products in our portfolio is Petabots, which is essentially a PvP gaming platform. So when we were looking into this market, we didn't want to join the arm race of upcoming AAA MMO RPG, all those stuff on so like decentralizing the classic games. So we were looking into what this market has proven to be successful at, and how we can bring that into Web3. So we looked into two revolutions. The one revolution was the mobile casual gaming, when such titles as Candy Crush Saga or Angry Birds actually revolutionized the whole industry, and it appeared that people can very casual, like few minutes games, and they can play them all day long. And from the other side, everyone loves betting, but people do hate playing against the house, because, as we all know, the house always wins. And one revolution that we were inspired in this sector was the Betfair, which was the first PvP game betting platform. So they essentially allowed users to bet against each other, but not against the bookmaker. And they became a huge success. It's one of the largest betting platforms in the world right now. So that's our vision with Petabots. So it's an NFT powered gaming platform. With the concept is that users have the NFT characters, like the robotic pets, which they can collect, breed, level up, and they can play against each other in different mini games. So currently we have on this alpha version, we've got one mini game available, two more already in development. We have the backlog of 15 of those. So they will allow like different, it's all of the classic titles, like the tic-tac-toe, the rock, paper, scissors, the battleship, all those games we all love since our childhood. And now you will be able to use NFT characters and play against other players with bats or without bats. It depends on you, but how you perform actually influences what you get. So we started back in March this year. We had two sold outs on Magic Eden and Polygon. So we originally started on Polygon, but our beta version, which will be released in October, will be a major update. We will moving multi-chain support. So in October, we start supporting more than 10 blockchains with NFTs on these blockchains. Of course, Reef being one of them. And this is how we want to build a product that any player on any chain can join at any time. Of course, they will be like seamlessly on board, even they don't have any wallet. And our bigger vision for this project is actually creating a platform which we could license out to other companies, to websites, to iGaming operators, so that they can have this whole platform of PvP games, so all their users can play. Well, actually, what I want to add, if you happen to be in Dubai throughout October or in Barcelona on October 24th, 25th. Yard Hub will be participating with Booth on all the major events this autumn, and Petabots will be displayed there as one of our most prominent portfolio projects. So if you happen to be there, please come, say hi, and we'll happily have some chat. Awesome to be here today. Hope we have great discussion. Thanks.
Thank you. It's, now I know a lot more about Petobots. I haven't had a chance, unfortunately, to really dig in since Pratik and the rest of the team got in touch with you guys. But that looks really cool. It's kind of like Pokemon, but like mechanized demons or familiars, if you prefer that term, that sort of thing. So I think that's really neat. Cool. All right. Yeah, I think we can get into the roundtable here. So there we go. Sorry. We'll open this up. Actually, let's go back to you, Yaroslav. How do you define a thriving Web3 community? Petobots has not been around all that long. You're decently into your roadmap, though. Like you said, you've had a couple of NFT sellouts so far. So, given the relatively short history of Petobots up until now, and starting to get a little bit further into your roadmap, how do you define a thriving Web3 community?
Well, cool. I can talk from Petabots' perspective and also from the perspective of our other projects. We've got other projects that were like huge success back in 2021, and I could say that at that time, autumn 2021, you could easily understand that communities thriving is when you were literally unable to read anything happening in Discord. It was moving so fast. You really needed, to freeze, to disconnect your internet so it cannot be, it doesn't receive new messages so you could read. But on a serious note, I think that for me, the most bright example and metrics that you can use to understand whether the community is thriving or not is first when you have core community of people who come there, show up every day, and whether the topics that people discuss in your communities are only about your project and its perspectives and the token price and whatever, or about anything else. So as long as people in your Discord start talking about cars, travel, children, I don't know, crypto prices, whatever, that means that you've actually succeeded. You've got the home run, and now you've created a community that is there every day just because they love this place, and that's the base you can build a very successful project and community around. So I guess that's for me is most important. And interesting enough, during the last NFT, I would say NFT crash or NFT price drop, when all the blue chips collections went, like 20, 30, 50%, like in a few days. We happened to own most of them, and we were monitoring the discords of all these projects. It was actually a super valuable time and a lot of insights on both how different type of communities behave when something bad happens to the price of the NFT, and on the other side, how teams manage these situations and whether they make it even worse or they somehow handle the situation. And so that's super interesting, and I wish everyone here has got a thriving community in their project, because if you have a good community, you can you can build everything, whatever you want, whatever you can imagine. If you have a supportive community, without a community in Web3, I believe it's impossible to build anything. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Since we're kind of in the gaming vein, I want to take this over to you, Deon. You have a very different. Well, I guess you guys kind of serve two audiences, with developers who you want to bring into the .GAMING platform, but also you've got a game that you guys are building internally. So I'll let you pick, but depending on whether it's a developer audience or a gamer audience, how do you define that thriving community?
Well, I think it could be the same for both developer and gaming, where if the community shares It set values like decentralization, transparency, security. If everybody shares those same values, that is what makes a thriving community. But without going too far ahead of the questions to come, I think also because I've been on both sides. I'm on the developer side now, and I've been on the gaming side. And I know the pains of the gaming side when you're in a community and you are trying to reach out to these developers of the specific game, but just they don't listen. They don't even bat an eyelid at you because they make you feel sometimes like, well, you're just a player, you're not that important, which is the exact opposite. The players are that important. And I think if the developers of a community listen to the community, at least to some extent, you can't fully listen to everything the community wants because that's not going to be beneficial for the game itself. But if you at least listen and talk to the community, I think that builds up that trust within the community. And when you have that trust, I think the community starts, they start vibing together a lot better. So I think it's just communication in the end will make a community thrive even better if you have the communication from the developer side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to imagine you've been paying attention to what's happening with Unity recently and their proposed changes to their runtime platform. I'm not going to get into it now, but basically if anybody's not familiar with Unity, the game engine, go to The Verge or Polygon, and I'm sure you'll see all sorts of articles recently about that and the firestorm that started last week, which I think, more to your point, came out of a lack of discussion with the developer community, especially. Like, do you have like separate platforms to talk to to developers and to gamers, or are you just like, how are you interacting with one versus the other?
Yeah, we do have separate platforms because some things that are being discussed are you don't want the public to outright know about what you're discussing in your plans and so on. So there is two different platforms, but then we do have the connected platform where everybody is mixing in together and just all speaking together. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. But yeah, anyway, that's a classic example of what not to do because you clearly did not talk to your community. Not you, Unity, and how not to handle the situation even like 4 or 5 days after. I think Sunday they finally started to listen, but or some tide has turned internally. But that's been interesting and kind of unfortunate to see. We don't need to go through everybody. I'm just gonna put it out there. If anybody has anything they want to add to what's been said by Yaroslav and Deon already, put up your hand. Go ahead. And we'll see if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate as well, Derek, that you'd really have to listen to your community and take that feedback. Be responsive, be transparent. It is very tough to build a thriving Web3 community these days, right? I mean, we're all kind of living through this really harsh bear market at this point in time, and it wasn't unfortunately, when I came along in early 2022, it was towards the end of the bull market, right? And so I didn't really get to experience all, the great heydays of the, late 20 and the 21, year when things were going so great. But, these challenges that, that we experience now only make us stronger going forward. But, it's community is the biggest thing. If you can build that, you have a great base that advocates for you. That's going to bring you a lot of success down the road.
For sure.
Add one thing to that as well, Derek. From our side, I guess it's just make your community part of your mission. Add them to your team. Make sure their input is heard. Engage in ambassador programs. Make them feel that their voice is being heard. You have people who really love your projects, who have their own views and opinions about it, want to share it with the world if they really believe in what you're doing. So I think things like ambassador programs, making them part of your team, making them feel closer to your team is so important. And, rewarding them for doing that is important as well. It's not just about a pat on the back. You have people there who are talking about you and spreading the name of your projects, but actually giving back to them is so important as well. So having thriving programs to reward your community is very important as well, to keep everyone happy, keep everyone engaged. And also it maintains that momentum as well. I mean, communities are grown by you telling your friends about a project and so on and so forth. So it just keeps everyone going. So just a small addition from my side there as well, but totally agree with what Pat and the rest of the guys are saying there. I think it all makes to a good community, right?
Agreed.
I'd also like to add that like community is a really important part of the project as well, right? So like I didn't understand that in the beginning because like I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are coming to Web3, right? They're more focused on developing the project and marketing it and getting the right users, right? Well, who would be using the projects? But I was part of some projects which I told you that test a market cap of $500 million, and it only had 1,000 users. But the only reason they went up to $500 million is just because of the community, because the community believed in the project and they bought their tokens. The same thing happened with, I would say, the biggest DeFi projects as well, like Compound. They had a market cap of $9.9 billion and they had less than 10,000 users. But the community was pretty strong. Everyone was buying their token. They believed in the whole DeFi infrastructure. They built the peer-to-peer lending protocol they built. And yeah, as Waseem and Pat said, it's really important to reward your community as well.
Great. Thanks for that addition, Sparsh. Appreciate it. We'll stay with you, Sparsh, since you I think you just kind of alluded to this. What do you think is the most underestimated factor in building a strong Web3 community?
I would say rewarding the users. I would stick to that point because we see a lot of projects are giving rewards to, I would say, airdrop hunters, right? They're actually rewarding the airdrop hunters to use their application and maybe suggest them what all changes would be required, or maybe just to get the I would say, bump up the transaction number or traction number, right? So it's really important to reward the users who are actively asking about what your project is building and spreading the word about your project and like trying to understand what the vision of the project is. Because at the end of the day, these airdrop hunters would go, and the only people who would be sticking to the community for the long term would be these guys who are asking about the project and talking on social media about your project. And this happened with, I think, Aptos as well. They had, I would say, a TVL of a couple of $1 billion until the airdrop was going on. But just after the airdrop was ended, their TVL dropped down to $50 million. I'm not even sure that if it's $50 million right now.
Yeah, good points. Pat, I think you guys have done a lot of testnet type activities, weekend beta test sessions, stuff like that. What about you in terms of the most underestimated factor?
Well, I'd say, during the times that we're experiencing right now with this bear market, community resilience, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. It's a positive, resilient culture can weather a lot of challenges, conflicts. We've got, every project's going to have its setbacks, conflicts, disagreements within the community. But, if we can all stay together and have one common goal and all work towards, what that goal is, that's the biggest thing. What we don't want is fragmentation within the community, disagreements, people leaving. You got the churn of the community, which is not great. It means that they don't really believe in the project, 100%. So really, being transparent about what you're creating, what your goals are, your milestones along the way, and building that belief within your community for them to be resilient and know that there's going to be setbacks and challenges, but that we'll overcome it together. And we're all striving for the same goal. I think that's the biggest key.
For sure. I'll do the same thing. Does anybody else have anything they want to add here?
Yeah. Why not, Derek? So I think. Sorry. Do you want to go?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I think. Look, there are so many fractured communities out there. So I think really hitting up market adjacent communities is important in growth. We all share similar ideas and beliefs in how we can grow this industry as a whole. So I think the AMA approach is one of the greatest tools you can use to actually grow your community, which is look at the interests of what your community has, ask them questions about other projects that they're interested in, tap into those ambassadors that you have accumulated through those diehard, community members that you have garnered, And then tap into those ecosystems as well and spread the message. It's all about consistent messaging and ensuring people are aware. Crypto is an industry and blockchain is an industry, has a lot of flavors of the month, right? So things are constantly changing. There's always new things coming out. So staying relevant and ensuring that your message is heard is so vital to that. Yes, it takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of work, and sometimes you have a sore throat by the end of the week from all the talking, but you got to keep going. And I think hitting adjacent communities that share similar interests and have a same directive as you is a great place to actually grow your community and create partnerships as well out of that. A lot of partnerships are born through, cross-pollination of communities and growing ideas, right?
Yeah, for sure. Deon, I think you had something you wanted to add?
No, basically the same thing. I was going to mention AMAs, but specifically community AMAs. Like we try to do at least once a week a community AMA on our Discord, just to get the feedback from the community and hear what questions they specifically have. And that's a great way to get those specific answers and answer them directly and just get everybody unified on a weekly basis. I think is a good thing to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
And, Yaroslav, did you want to add anything? No.
No. I think we could move. I think we all got a lot to add, but
cool.
Yeah, we move to other questions.
Janesh, over to you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I would like to ask you guys, what is some of the innovative strategies that you have employed till now in your project that is helping you to foster the community engagement? Sparsh, any comments?
Sure. So, Waseem was talking about doing AMAs with the communities, right, or partnerships with different projects, right? So we did something similar with Plena as well. So actually, we launched our own account abstraction SDK, and using that account abstraction SDKs, other dApps are also able to provide a similar user experience like Plena, right? So when we did AMAs with those partner projects, we were able to tell their community as well that what we have built and how we have simplified the user experience for those dApps. And we luckily got a lot of users from those communities as well. So their community members actually learned about how we are simplifying it and how we are also adding another utility to the token that they're actually holding. So I would say doing Twitter spaces or marketing activities with partner projects is, I would say, a really good idea.
That sounds really interesting. Like cross marketing and cross community engagement activities are really interesting. Like you can collaborate with your partner projects and everyone, and then you can invite their community as well and your community to interact with their project. I think it's really good to do that. Pat, any comments from your end?
I will say that cross-community collaborations are huge, right? I mean, that's why, Alterverse teamed up with the Reef team, right? And your blockchain. You guys have a great, thriving community. All projects need, the attention, as being, upcoming projects to have that attention to new communities that want to tap into what your project is. So that's first and foremost one of the biggest things that we can do to continue, fostering engagement. The other is, always speaking from kind of a gamer's perspective, live events. We plan on doing live events in Alterverse within Sky City as well. It could be, concert events or, gatherings, which will be big for us, we believe. And also, we found out Zeely campaigns have been really good as well. I know the Reef, you guys do a lot of Zeely campaigns, and this is something that we just picked up recently, probably about a couple months ago. And I would say that has been a really nice way to attract a lot of new users to your platform and just put a lot of quests out there to really foster engagement.
Oh, that sounds really cool to me. Deon, any comments?
For me, I would think giveaways and airdrops and just to give back to the community. I mean, do simple quests for the community to do, let's say digital treasure hunts for them to scour the internet and find information and give clues and stuff like. Just get them all to once again unify and work together as a team to win rewards like tokens or NFTs or whitelist spots into beta versions, whatever it may be. I think that, yeah, that's about all I have for that.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds really good. That giving back to the community is an important aspect here right now. Zach, any comments?
It's a strange one. We're all in a digital space, right? But I think sometimes the in-person can really help you grow as well. So I think having a heavy presence at conventions, and we all do the regular circuit, right? It starts over in Europe, goes over to America, and then in the Middle East, as we're all aware, right? So I think actually having a heavy presence, being able to meet people in person, talk to people, garner more interest, I would say that's leading on the innovative side, if you will, given that we're all aware of all the usual digital tactics to grow your community, which is posting consistently, doing AMAs, doing giveaways and airdrops. But you can't forget that these are real people at the end of the day sitting on the end of these Telegram handles, and it's really good to meet with them, speak with them, talk about what they're doing, share ideas that are upcoming, get their feedback, and it's always a super positive experience. So I would say the in-person is the innovative way to actually grow and strengthen your community, actually show that you're real people and not just an icon in a Telegram chat or on Discord, right?
Understood. Like one-on-one conversations are always very impactful in the community. Like you can get the closer views, like what are their experiences and everything, and then you can implement those ideas in the product and everywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of messages that we get, I saw you at such and such a keynote, or I saw you guys on a roundtable at a conference, and we thought it was amazing. I learned so much more about your project. You can't really beat that. That's always a good one.
Got it. Yaroslav, any ideas?
Yeah, on top of what Deon said, like these activities, interestingly enough, we've discovered that they shouldn't even have any valuable prizes to work great. So back to 2021, we've discovered, like, we call these the metagaming activities. So what we did is, when the game was still in development, we started unveiling the whole story through the Discord missions. So the players were uniting into teams. They were competing against each other in different quizzes and things like that. And actually, the thing is, there was no prize in the end. So it was like kind of something that should be revealed soon, because no one really cares. It's just this sense of on one side, sense of team building, and you're part of the team, and on the other side is the competitiveness against each team. And what we do with Petabots is, again, we don't have like the clan system in game implemented yet, but we already have that implemented in Discord. So there are clans, and during our in-game events, they play against each other. They make points. They earn the bot coin, which is like the Discord token, virtual token. But then they can go to Clan Shop and purchase some NFTs. So this metagaming stuff, I think it's very undervalued, and it's the best way to engage your existing community. Maybe it's not that valuable for growing it, but it's very valuable for engaging your existing players or users, and give them something to spend time with in your Discord if they don't even use your product.
Yeah, that's really quite interesting to know that how you did the Discord thing and the whole story gameplay on the Discord while you were building the app and platform for the gamers. My another question is going to be like, how you are guys treating and building the trust within the community, and the community is going to be expanding more and more with you guys coming to the Reef. So how are you planning to build the trust within the community? Like Zach, I want to know from you, because you are running a trust building platform. Like Astra is building the trust within the business partners. I want to know like how you guys are planning to do that within the community.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about being open about what you're doing, really. From our side, everything relies on new regulation, developing and keeping people aware of what those fundamental changes are. We're not the sexy project. We're not the new shiny toy in the room. But what we are is fundamental infrastructure that builds out this industry as a whole. So sometimes we miss all the shiny news and being the shiny toy in the room. But what's important about our team is that the mission that we've set forth is to be an integral part of this industry that drives more adoption. Everybody talks about how do we get the next billion users into this industry, right? What Astra's mission is to build that key infrastructure, develop trust as an industry, and that reflects on the industry as a whole. That's where trust is driven. So communication, being clear with your community on everything that's happening, implementing and working hard, and the proof is in the results ultimately. Adopters, people using your service are key to all of that. So I would say that's where it fundamentally comes from.
Sparsh, any ideas, any comments on this area?
Sure. So I would say to build trust among the community, the first thing that we did was to get our contracts audited by reputed audit firms like PeckShield and Certic, because if they don't trust the protocol, right, they won't actually deposit any funds and try out our product. So that was the first thing that we did. And I think the next important thing could be being transparent with the community as well, right? And what we're building, what our roadmap is. So just share how the token would be used and what's next in your roadmap. And also what we do is we ask for suggestions from the community as well. So we ask them like, what thing would you like to see next in our project? And then we adjust the roadmap according to their needs. And I think the community now believes in our product as well, because we were building this whole solution of account abstraction for 2 years, and a couple of VCs or some of the VCs that we approached didn't believe in the product, but our community did. And now, once Vitalik wrote after Vitalik wrote a paper on it, everyone is now convinced that this is the solution which could bring mass adoption to dApps and bring, I would say, on board next 1 billion users to Web3. Because earlier the problem was that no one was using those dApps because of the large learning curve, right? The users have to learn so many things. And it's, I would say, easier for us to say that, or that we are using those apps, that they're easy to use because we have been using it for a while. We learned it. I would say we had to learn so many things, right, about gas fees and a bunch of other stuff. But if there's a new user who's coming up and trying to use a blockchain application, like even a simple swap application like Uniswap, they won't be able to do that. They don't know what gas price is or what all of these bunch of different stuff are, because they're not technical users, they're not techies. And we tried to follow the approach of, I would say, Web2 companies like Gmail, because let's say when you use Gmail, you just write the email and click on send, and Gmail takes care of everything else for you. And that's what we try to do, because our users are also not learning anything, and we are handling all the complexity for them.
That's really interesting, like you handling all the complexities and giving the users to freedom of exploring the platform and using it with an ease. Pat, any ideas like how you want to build the trust within the community?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like the points that the others have come up with already. I'll just add to that trust takes a lot of time, right? I mean, trust is built over time. It's based on your actions, transparency, listening. I love Sparsh's comments around the roadmap. Hitting the roadmap. What you're saying, what you're going to do is, you end up doing it. So trust takes a lot of time, and it could be eroded so fast as well. Like if you have any missteps, they don't maybe not believe in what's going on, or there's setbacks. If it's not communicated properly, that trust can be eroded. So, it's a long road. It's something that you always have to keep in mind and make sure that you always do the right thing. You're transparent and you listen to your community, and you're open to them.
Deon, your ideas, your thoughts?
So transparency, obviously the number one thing, be transparent, but I think also inclusiveness and support. So include your community in whatever you are doing next. Ask them about that part of the transparency, but ask them what you want to see, and then support if everybody or anybody has questions or doubts about the product. Be there, guide them, tell them about it, make them feel safe in the project, I would say. And over time, like Pat said, it's something that happens over time. It's not something you can immediately get done. But when you do those three things, transparency, inclusiveness, and support, over time, you'll get that trust that you need. And then the word of mouth will follow from that, with people will spread the word, saying that this project is really good. They really listen to the community. So over time, I think you'll have an amazing project if you do those things. Yeah.
Yaroslav, anything you would like to add here, like building the trust within the community?
It's not easy. It's not easy to add after all this stuff, Yeah, so I will just double down on that. I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you're clear and transparent and you're honest. So whatever shit happens, if you're honest about it and you have a clear plan of how you're gonna work with that, how you're gonna mitigate it, that should work out fine. Well, we've been into a lot of difficult situations with our projects and with the community, but at the end of the day, there are people who are still there and from the very beginning, and they're still supportive and because they trust the team. That's why, whatever happens, just be clear. But I think we're going to talk about the user feedback. I do not agree you should always listen to users' feedback. That's something always to think about. You should listen to what they say, but not incorporate everything they say. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yaroslav, I agree with you. Sometimes design by committee is an atrocious way to get things done, especially in our space with KYC. I think if we listen to everyone about KYC, there would be no KYC. But what do you know?
Yeah. It's a two-sided sword. Like whenever we listen to the community, it's pointing to us as well and other sides as well. So it's always, we should handle it with care.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't take on everything, but you do get those gems that you do need to implement. Usually on the UX front, I find the community is very, very good. Helps you slicken that process as you're getting users through. It's always good feedback from my experience.
Yeah. So now I would like to come down to the community questions. Like some of the members asked some of the good questions, great questions in the community. And I would like to ask you guys to comment on those questions. Like, what advice would you like to give someone to become an active and valuable member of the community? Anyone, any comments? Anything? Yaroslav?
I can, or you
Sure, go
you
ahead.
can go. It's fine.
No, go ahead, Deon. Go ahead.
To be just rephrase the question because now I'm lost now.
Yeah. So what advice would you like to give someone who want to become an active and valuable member of the community? Like you can answer according to your communities.
Okay. I would say be authentic. If you are an open, genuine, authentic person, people will like to listen to you. Be inclusive of everybody, and something that you need to remember as if you want to come into a community as a mod or something, it is a diverse group. There's so many different cultures in there, and you need to be able to to cater to all of those cultures. And you have to be empathetic as well. So be genuine, be authentic, be empathetic, and I think you'll do a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Over to you, Yaroslav.
Yeah, I mean, like just be you. That's the thing. If the project is interesting to you and you want to give advice, give support to the newbies, whatever, just be you. Because well, we've seen a lot of time, especially when it's like the whitelist period or something like that, when people want to grind for mint, for NFTs and things like that. They just they show up, they copy paste everything from your Gatebook to the newbies. So that's false, and that never leads to anything. And then when the mint is over, like they're gone, like disappeared. And there are people who maybe they're not like super skilled as in terms of talking to people, but you feel they're passionate about the projects. They show up every day and they deliver just from their heart, and that's very valuable. And that is always in good communities, in the projects where projects do care about their communities. This type of behavior is always rewarded in the end. It's always been there like that. So just you be you and have fun, and the good things will come.
Sparsh, any ideas would you like to share?
I would say what Yaroslav and Deon said. I think it's really important you learn about the project, what they're trying to do, just understand what their vision is. And if there are any new members who are joining the community, just try to help them out as well.
Zach, Pat, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, all great points already brought up. I will just say from a gaming perspective, we love when community members get, you want to be active and be leaders. We need that. There's always, there's more things than the project than the team members can handle on their own, right? There's always more to be out there that we can have help with, and to have really great leaders within the community that want to be a part of it and help out. We love that, and we appreciate all the support we get from our community members.
I agree with everyone. From my side, it's just be friendly, be helpful. If there are new people joining who have got questions that may have been covered in the past or that you think are a little bit trivial, just try and be as helpful as possible. Make people smile, just simple things. Be courteous to others, be friendly. All these things are just the cornerstone of helping grow the community and being part of the same mission, right?
That's actually how I got my start in Web3, like getting a full-time gig was being part of a community that was entering their, they didn't call it an ICO at the time, but it was definitely an ICO. And, but just most of the founders are on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm 3 hours ahead. And a lot of it was just copying and pasting what's already been said by the founders, or referencing like, oh, yesterday so-and-so said this thing that's in response to your question. Here's a link back to the previous Slack message and stuff like that. And I got noticed. And a few months later, I was head of community relations, and things have gone on since then. So I was that's approaching 6 years ago. So yeah, if you want to be helpful, or if you want to be a good community member, be helpful, be constructive in your feedback. Saying that things suck doesn't help. Tell us why it sucks from your opinion. Like where, or even if you don't have a suggestion of like how to actually improve it, like telling Sparsh, I think, mentioned something about the user experience early, saying like this part of the user experience specifically, I'm getting caught up on. That's helpful. And then the designer or whoever can actually go back and take a look at that. Or for Deon, deploying the game through the dot.GAMING platform, I'm getting caught up on this part, or like this doesn't make sense to me. Just being a little bit more specific about that criticism will really help. The feedback and the criticism, I think, is always welcome. It just depends on how you deliver it and how specific you are, that we can then be like, oh, that's super helpful. Thank you. We're going to take that and take a look at it and make some changes probably.
What's just a very, very one small remark. Funny enough, in one of our projects, the most valuable feedback was from the most outrageous guy. He was like writing, super long reads, like telling we're stupid and we don't know how to do this, how to do that. But like amidst all those piles of criticism, there were really valuable thoughts and great feedback. And the funny thing is that it's like 2 years already. The guy is still there. He still hates us. He still plays and writes this super valuable feedback. So these things do happen as well. And like everyone's got used to that. And okay.
But what I would say before anybody decides this is a great idea is it leads to a much smaller likelihood that people are going to take you seriously if you're just ranting all the time, or if it looks like you're ranting all the time. It's not that we don't want the feedback, but like I think the delivery definitely matters.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. Just
okay.
Sharing the fun fact.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. We have a couple of those folks in the community as well, and like I've learned since then. I don't know what that was. I've learned since then to try to read. I don't have to read between the lines. The criticism is like the helpfulness is in there. I'm just trying to ignore all the ad hominem attacks in between.
You can use ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT and say, please extract the valuable comments out of all that rant.
Perfect. Okay, I think we can move on to the next question. As we had a community question that I think we've already talked about mass adoption, widespread recognition, growing the community, etc. So instead, I want to focus on a different one. As a community leader, and hopefully you all consider yourselves community leaders, how do you think we can collaboratively design an experimental training program to empower newcomers to the Web3 space? That's actually a really decent question. Sparsh, I think you were kind of starting to talk a little bit about this with account abstraction and stuff like that. I'm not sure account abstraction. I'm quite confident it's not the panacea a lot of people are making it out to be, because Argent, or Argent, if you prefer, has been working on this sort of thing with smart contract wallets for a while. They're not at, I don't think they're not at, 100 million users, let alone a billion. But anyway, you were kind of talking about this earlier. Do you have any comments here about this experimental training program that would empower newcomers?
So yeah, first of all, I'd just like to tell you about account abstraction as well, because you're a bit confused about it. So Argent did launch smart contract wallets, but it was different from account abstraction. What account abstraction does is it gives you a centralized application like user experience. So what it means is trade on Binance, right? Let's say if you want to buy Bitcoin on Binance with your USDT, it's pretty easy. You can just you can select the amount, and you can just click on buy, and you would be able to buy that Bitcoin, right? But if you have to do the same thing on Uniswap, it's a really long process. You have to buy Ethereum in addition to USDT. Just to pay for the transaction fee, you have to do 2 transactions. The users are a bit confused because there's an approval transaction and the next one is the actual swap transaction, right? And a lot of users get confused, like why do we have to do it? And it's also a bit unsafe as well. And the next thing is like what account abstraction does is we are able to give you the same user experience like Binance now. Now you are able to pay the transaction fee in USDT, just like you do the trading fee, just like you pay the trading fee on Binance in USDT. And you're also able to do everything in one single tap. So just like you do on Binance, you don't have to do multiple transactions for that particular swap. Now, talking about educating the new users, I don't think it's really necessary to teach them all of the stuff that we have learned for the past couple of years, because we have seen that it's not taking us anywhere. Although crypto has reached a market cap of $3 trillion, that was all-time high, but we still saw that most of the users were using centralized exchange. To be exact, it was 97.25% of the total users who invested in crypto only used centralized exchange, instead of using a self-custodial wallet or a dApp, right? And the thing that we need to teach our users is just why self-custody is important, right? And just a bit about blockchains or different networks of blockchain which they can use if they want to pay less fee, right? And I think that's the only thing that we need to teach them. The rest of the things should be taken care by the projects, so they have a very seamless user experience while interacting with the dApps.
Terrific. Does anybody want to add on to that?
Very well said by Sparsh, actually, and I agree. I think the complexity and the technology should just be a complete footnote to this whole change in system, right? I think blockchain and crypto as a whole is just the plumbing. Nobody's really fascinated by the plumbing in the house. Nobody comes to your place and starts looking under the sink, right? So I think once the focus moves into user experience and getting users through the system in a way that they are completely familiar with, or even a new radical change but brings greater system access, then there will no longer be that requirement for this explanation and how you set up a wallet, seed phrases, and all this stuff, right? That's one of the biggest prohibitors. I think the question that we need to ask is, how do I get my dad to buy Bitcoin, or how do I get my dad to buy crypto in the Web3 sense? When we can start informing and educating people who are who've had less exposure to this industry and can do it just as simple as we can, well, then I think we've made some great strides forward. So maybe it's not about the education as such. Maybe it's about improving the experience for users as a whole to make it completely seamless. And then the blockchain takes care of itself and the tokens take care of themselves.
Yeah, I think it is a good point that most people don't understand how the internet works today, right? the number of people who understand that this is, oh shoot, what's the name of this protocol that we're using right now?
TCP/IP.
Well, that yes, but even just for the video and audio part, I don't remember the name right now. But anyway, like there's a protocol for the audio and video itself. Yes, there's the underlying TCP/IP protocols that actually route traffic around the internet, border gateway protocols between disparate networks and all that, DNS connecting all of this virtually in between so that you know that this domain goes to this IP address. The number of people who understand that these days is so few, and yet, and I'm also a little guilty of this. We've seen the situation where we're like, you need to understand how the Bitcoin blockchain works. No, you don't. you really don't. You don't understand. You don't need to understand how Reef chain works, Ethereum, etc. You do need to know, at least at this point, you are the bank. You're responsible for your own keys in most situations, and you can share keys with a few other people, and with different applications and stuff like that. I think that's important because we're not at a point where it's the norm where you can just make a wallet and it's kind of backed up somewhere for you on your behalf and easily recoverable. I know that tech exists, obviously, but it's, like I said, it's not the norm. But ultimately, it does need to become the norm for your dad, Sakhib, to buy Bitcoin, and for mine too, and to actually move to a place where eventually people do feel more comfortable holding their own money than at the bank, and transacting in whatever cryptocurrency that they choose, like we used to before cash came into existence, and governments being okay with that. And I don't know how long that's going to take, but beaver pelts used to be the currency of choice here in Canada, and while I'm not advocating for killing a bunch of extra beavers and going back to that, I do want to advocate for, I will exchange whatever I feel like I'm exchanging, in exchange for value. It could be trading, my iPhone for something that I do think is just as valuable or something like that. It doesn't have to be dollars. Anyway, we've seen platforms like Rabbit Hole. I was going to say 21 & Co, but that's aging me quite a bit. Coinbase Earn, stuff like that. I think that's gotten us a little bit of the way, but certainly something. I don't know. It hasn't gotten us to 1 billion people. Is there anybody else who wants to comment on this particular question before we move on? I'm going to take that as a no. And if Janesh, if you're ready, I'll pass it back over to you.
Sure. So I would like to ask one more question from the community. Like, how do you envision the ideal relationship between the project founders and the broader Web3 community? Like, how you guys communicate, how you guys build the trust, and how do you build the relationship that is being required between the founders and the community? Like, I mean, most of the time other members are actively engaging, but how does the founder build the trust within the community?
I can go with that.
Yeah.
I think this is nothing specific for Web3. This is the bigger trend of the latest year, and I would say this is the founder's personal brand. Whatever the way they broadcast it. So as we can see, for example, like there are different. Again, I'm going back to where the founder's face is one of the most important stuff. It's like the NFT space. So we have like Frank from DGOS. This is like the whole brand is built upon the personal brand of one guy. Yeah, they've got a team, of course, but who knows the names of those guys? No one, and except their community. And I think this trend is going to become more stronger and stronger. And again, we can see how very different approaches could be there. So there are approaches where it's like kind of a gonzo founder style, or something very like corporate style. Some guys, like they're like experts in writing like essays and long reads, and that's how they broadcast themselves. Some people do some crazy stuff, going through different events. So everyone should choose for themselves. But what I think is that if you build something in Web3 and you want to build something really big, except maybe for some very narrow, super B2B infrastructure projects, where you don't really need to talk to the community. You need to talk like to 10 people from the industry. If you're building something that wants to interact with the community, you have no choice but start building your personal brand. There are a lot of ways to do that. You choose the most comfortable one, but I'm afraid you can't avoid it. This is something that like on the agenda, and if you really want your project to be associated with something, like the chances are the highest that it will be associated with you. So you better look good. So that's my take.
Anyone else would like to add anything to this point? I take this as a no. So Derek, over to you.
Sorry about that. Wrong button. Sorry, we've had to leave or had to lose Sparsh, unfortunately. He's got some other commitments, but we're going to be wrapping up here actually really soon. I think we need to get to our last question here and wrap this up. All right, I need to choose our last question because we had 5 or 6 we could get to, and I don't think that's going to happen today. I guess, Janesh, I'm going to have to take your question here because I think this is the best one to wrap up on. If you could give one piece of advice to a new Web3 project looking to build a thriving community, what would it be? And I'm going to start at the top of my screen. And I think what everybody else is seeing. Pat, we'll start with you.
One piece of advice on building a thriving community, I guess just authenticity, right? Just being honest, communication, involvement, value alignment, long-term vision. I mean, I think that's really going to create the best, engagement is authenticity. I think that people will see through you, right, or a project if you're not really clear about what you're doing and how that aligns with the community goals. So I think once you have that, you establish the trust with the community and you keep that up over a long period of time, I think that really delivers the best long-term value for the project and the community.
Terrific. Sak?
Kind of a little bit converse to growing communities here, but I would say if you're a new Web3 project, I would say the cornerstone of any business is working quietly, working hard, and getting results. Working on your BD pipeline, ensuring that your technology is solid, ensuring that you have aligned partnerships and good connections in the industry verticals that you're tackling. Some of the key things that you need to be focused on. The rest, success can be built upon that. I mean, if you have a business that relies on community relationship to be successful, then of course that's important. Most businesses in Web3 or Web2 or any kind of business is reliant on having a successful business, right? That's about having customers. It's about being successful in your mission and being focused on that. So if you are a founder who's building a new business, focus on those key areas and the rest will come together pretty easy.
Terrific. Yaroslav, over to you.
Yeah, so as long as it goes with the community, I'd go with advice as with any endeavor you're into, just think and plan ahead. Just understand what you're building, what kind of community you want to have. How do you envision your ideal project community, let's say in a year, what people are there, what they're talking about, how they interact, how you interact with them. And when you have that plan, then you just, reverse it and understand what steps you need to take to build that exact community that you envision.
Great. And Deon, if you could give one piece of advice to a new Web3 project looking to build a thriving community, what would it be?
I think the best advice possible for that developer is to take this live stream that we've just done and watch it from the very beginning, because everybody here mentioned so many good points about how to build that community and win the trust and just keep up that trust. And I think everything that's been said on this entire stream is everything that they need to build a thriving community. So I think that's the best answer I can give.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. We really, really appreciate it. Pat from Alterverse, Sparsh from Plena had to take off. We lost Nelson from Rariko, unfortunately, as well at some point. I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to do another event with Nelson and the Rariko team in order to bring them back. Sakhib, Deon, Yaroslav, really, really appreciate all you guys joining us here today. If you haven't already, everybody, we are running also this Zeely campaign. We've mentioned that a couple of times for this particular event. Go find the link over on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's in the description here on YouTube as well, or over on Facebook, to complete the campaigns and potentially get some Reef at the end of that. I think we should kind of recap here. I think some of our biggest takeaways were authenticity, face-to-face activity in real life, or at least, on screen, actually showing your face, talking to the community. AMAs were mentioned a few times. Airdrops, rewarding your early users and your most fervent community members as well was mentioned. These are all really, really terrific ideas. Like Deon said, if you're just coming across this later, go back and watch the whole thing, because there was a lot of community growth and nurturing alpha leaked here today, I think. Janesh, do you have any parting words you'd like to add here before we sign off?
Yeah, it was great talking to you guys, learning from you guys, and knowing all the interesting points that you have made today, like how you are going to interact with the community, how to build the strongest community out there, how do you build the trust within the community, with the project and the community. So yeah, learned a lot today, and I hope all the audience that joined us today have learned a lot from the conversation. Happy to have more such conversations in the future.
Terrific. Thanks again, everybody, for your time. We'll finally let you go here a little bit late, and we'll see you for your own discrete events with the community, and really looking forward to helping promote your projects as they launch on Reef or integrate Reef into your core products in the near future here. Thanks again, everybody, and thank you, everybody, for watching and for all your comments and for the questions you sent in.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Peace out.
Bye.
Peace out.